You know what they said about Jason Tatum with Boston Celtics when he came back from that Achilles injury? They said he was going to play careful. He's not going to attack the rim the same way. He's not going to go up strong like he did before he got hurt. He was going to protect himself, and that's what happened. For a little while, that's exactly what it looks like. He came back, he played, but you could see it. He wasn't all the way in. Part of him was still protecting that old injury of that Achilles. And I want to talk to you today about the same thing in marriage because a lot of men and women are playing careful in their marriage after they got hurt. And I understand. I do. When something hurts you or someone hurts you, when that trust is broken, and when you go through something real and painful, you want to protect yourself. You don't go all the way in. You don't be fully vulnerable. You don't love like that again. But here's what I've learned in over 40 years of marriage. You cannot build a strong marriage by playing it careful. So my name is Sal, and my wife is Val, and we leave a ministry called Marriage Investors. And we've been in the trenches long enough to know what it's like. And when someone is protecting an old wound instead of building a new future, let's talk about it. I want to make this clear. The hurt is real. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that you can just get over it, or you need to just stop being sensitive, or that it wasn't that bad. Or if you went through something in your marriage that tore something in you, a betrayal, a season of disconnection, a word that was said that you can't unhear, a failure, yours or theirs, that changed the landscape of your relationship. That injury is real. Jason Tatum didn't pretend that Achilles wasn't torn. He didn't walk out in an arena and act like nothing happened. He said, I was shocked. I was scared. It felt like everything flashed before my eyes. For a moment, I thought I was never going to play again. That's honest. That's what real injury feels like. And here's what I want you to know. You are allowed to acknowledge that something happened, that it hurt, that it changed you. But this is the whole point of today. You cannot stay on the injury list for the rest of your marriage. Now, let me tell you what playing careful does to your marriage over time. It creates distance, not dramatic kind of distance, not an argument, not a blow up, just a slow, quiet pull back. You stop going all the way in. You stop being fully present. You love, but with a limit. You give, but only so much. You're there, but you also protecting yourself. And your spouse feels it. Might be able to name it, but they feel it. Something held back, something guarded, something in you is not fully available. And what God designed this marriage to be. And your spouse knows the version of you that is fully in and is still in there somewhere. Playing careful is not the same as playing smart. Playing smart says, I'm going to do the work to heal so that I come back stronger. Playing careful says, I'm going to protect myself so I'll never get hurt like that again. One leads to restoration, and the other one leads to a slow fade. Here's what nobody talks about when they tell you to forgive and move on. The comeback is work. Tatum didn't just decide one day he was going to play the way he played before. He spent months in the training room doing the invisible work nobody applauding for, pain, repetition, nobody watching, no glamorous work of rehab. And there's a direct parallel in marriage. If something is torn in your relationship, Coming back requires rehab, real, intentional, unsexual, unglamorous work. That might means counseling. It might means rebuilding trust, one small act at a time for months before you start to feel different. It might mean forgiving before you feel like forgiving. For if Ephesians 4:32 says, "Be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you." Notice it doesn't say forgiving one another when you feel ready or forgiving one another after sufficient time has passed. It says God in Christ forgave you. He didn't wait until he felt like it. He took what's convenient for him. He didn't protect himself from the cost of it. He went all the way in. And that's the standard. And that's what real marriage restoration requires. So let me take a moment now. And I think changes everything for Tatum. He said at one point he didn't have any hope. He thought it was over. But that's when something shifted. He made a decision not to wait until he felt completely ready, not to wait until the fear was gone, but to get back out there and attack. His coach said it best that the repiculation of a new journey begins today. Not the same journey, a new one. And that's what I want to say to you. If your marriage have been through something, the goal is not to get back what it was. Some of you, it was not even what you wanted. The goal is to build something new, something that has passed through the fire and came out stronger on the other side. In Romans 5:3 says, we also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame. The suffering in your marriage is not wasted, and you let it produce something. But if only produces something when you decide to stay in it and do the work. And I can tell you about a season Valerie and I walked through that I don't talk about lightly. We lost a child. And when you go through something like that together, grief doesn't look the same on two people. I had my side of carrying it and she had hers. And there were moments where instead of turning towards each other, we're in danger of turning away, going into our own pain and leaving the other person alone in there. The research is sobering that loss of a child significantly increased the risk of divorce because grief is one of the places where playing it careful feels most justified. Protecting yourself doesn't go deeper into something that also hurts this much. But we made a choice, and I'm going to say it wasn't easy. We stayed emotionally present, keep turning towards each other, even when everything in us wanted to retreat. And what came out of that season was a level of intimacy I didn't think we could have built any other way. The marriage that comes through something together is stronger than the marriage that faced anything. And Ecclesiastes 4:12 says, strand of three is not broken quickly. You, your spouse, God is in the middle of it. And that's the cord that holds under pressure. But you have to stay in there. You got to keep the cords together. Let me say something that might be hard for you to hear. For some of you are protecting an old wound that God has been trying to heal, and your protection is actually getting in the way. You decided constantly or not to keep a guard up. It's safer than being vulnerable again. But the wall you built to protect yourself, it's the same wall that's keeping your marriage from becoming what it could be. And Proverbs 4:23 says, guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the spring of life. We quote that verse to talk about keeping bad things out. But I want to flip. From your heart flows the springs of life into marriage. Your heart is shut down, guarded, playing careful. Springs are not flowing. Your marriage needs what comes out of a full heart. Your spouse needs to access to all of you, not just version of you. They decided to keep part of yourself safe. Tatum came back, not fully strength, one day, not without struggle, not without some bad shooting nights, and some moments where he could see he was fully finding himself. But he came back, he attacked. He stopped playing careful, and the journey continued. And that's what I want for your marriage. Not perfection, not an overnight transformation, but a decision today to stop protecting yourself to the expense of your marriage, to do the rehab work, to turn towards your spouse instead of away from him, to let God heal what has been guarded on your own. The best days of your marriage are not behind you, they're ahead of you. And on the other side of the decision to go all the way back in, if this lands with you today, don't let it pass. Talk to your spouse, pray together. And if you need support, head over to marriageinvestors.net. God bless your marriage.